Today I want to share with you what a virtual address is and how you can use one to totally transform and revolutionize the way you do business. Ready? Let's do it. Hey, my name is Jim. If you're new to the channel, I am a trademark and online business lawyer, and I operate my law firm that is based out of North Carolina in the United States, remotely from Portugal. And a lot of you who may be new to the channel or just finding me for the first time today with this video are probably wondering, how in the world do I do that? And so today what I want to do is share with you my deep dark secret about how exactly I do that, and it has to do with virtual addresses. Now, for those of you that are just getting started with online business, or maybe if you have been doing online business for a number of years now, privacy is always something that's very important when you're doing a business online. You probably want the freedom to be able to work from wherever and whenever you want. You want the freedom to be able to move around if that's something that you want to do. And you know, the whole idea of building an online business is so that you're not tethered to this one physical location in your city or state where you have to do all your business from. And I know for me as a lawyer, that was something that I really struggled with, because I knew as a lawyer, I was basically tying myself to Wake County, North Carolina, where I was practicing, and I had to be in court and I had to do all these things. And really, I didn't have the freedom to move about and go where I wanted to go. Well, COVID changed all of that and allowed me to basically build a business, build a law firm that allows me to work from wherever I want in the world. And right now, where I'm choosing to work is Lisbon, Portugal. There is the time change. You really can't do anything about that. If you figure out a way to make it so that I can be working from Lisbon and still be on the same time zone as the United States, I would love to hear from you, because I think that would be an amazing invention. But as far as I know, physically, without altering the space-time continuum, I'm pretty sure that's never gonna be possible. So now, if you're thinking about starting, or again, if you're already building an online business and you do not use a virtual address, then here's what's basically could potentially happen to you. Number one, it makes you look unprofessional. When somebody goes to your website and they look to see, you know, where your business is located, you're either not going to have an address, which you really need to have on some of the legal documents that you put on your website, or you're going to have your home address. If you're concerned about privacy, you probably don't want to use your home address. And if you're using that address for purposes like as your registered agent and different things like that, then that can also get you into trouble. Where do you go from there? Well, you go to a virtual address, and there's two main types of virtual addresses that you can use. There is a virtual workplace or virtual business address, and there is a virtual mailbox. Now, for me, working here in Portugal, I use a virtual mailbox. Now, what is a virtual mailbox? It's basically a company that you use that will scan your mail for you, and they can email that to you. And in the case of the company that I use, it's Earth Class Mail. And they actually scan in all my mail, and I get a notification on my phone, and I can go to their app and I can look at the mail, I can archive it, I can delete it, I can have it forwarded to somebody else. If I receive checks, they can deposit the checks for me. If I receive something like a credit card or something in the mail, they can forward it to me if I want them to do that. So there's a lot of different options, and it really allows me to work remotely from anywhere and still get access to all my mail without any concerns at all. And frankly, there's situations I can think of. If I were to move back to the United States, I probably would still use a virtual address, because it makes it so that you're not getting a whole lot of mail in your physical mail address. You don't have to check the mail every day. They filter through all the spam that you might get, or all the catalogs and things like that you don't want to get. So it actually is very convenient in that respect. Now, a virtual office, on the other hand, may still offer many of the benefits that a virtual mailbox will offer, but they're also going to offer basically virtual office space that you can use anytime you might need that space. So if you need to have a day office that you want to go in and get some work done in an office environment because you can't work from home on a specific day, they've got that. If you need conference room space, they've got that. If you need administrative support or somebody to answer your phones, they may have that also. So those are the main differences. So you've got the virtual mailbox on one hand, and you've got the virtual office on the other. Now let's talk about why you may want to think about using a virtual address of some sort for your business? Well, there's really several reasons. And the first reason we've already touched on, it's privacy. Nobody wants to have their personal address out there online for anybody to be able to find you, or if you have a disgruntled customer or things like that. You just don't want to have that information out there. So privacy is going to be the main one and the main reason why many people want to use a virtual address. The second main reason that you're going to want to use a virtual address is because if you sign up for one of the email service providers such as ConvertKit or ActiveCampaign or Kajabi or anything like that, then they're going to ask you what your business address is, because that needs to be included in the footer of each email that you send out to make sure you're not violating any canned spam laws. When you sign up for that service, you're not going to be able to send out emails until you provide them an address, and you're probably not going to use your home address as that address. So that would be the second reason you should consider a virtual address. The third reason you want to really consider a virtual address is because you may move. I've moved in the past several years multiple times, and I've moved my business to different locations. We've moved our house several times in the past several years. And when you have a virtual address, then it's one less thing you need to worry about dealing with to file additional paperwork with the Secretary of State to update your address with the Secretary of State, to update your address with the post office, to update your address with your customers and clients. And it just makes it a lot easier because you always have the same address regardless of where you decide to move. And if you move, you just update, the virtual address provider. And so that's all you really need to do. So that actually makes it quite easy and convenient if you are going to be moving around a lot, or if you're going to be traveling a lot, or if you're going to be operating your business remotely from other parts of the world. Then this is nice. You have this address and you can just forward things directly to where you're at, as opposed to having to worry about changing your address with the Secretary of State's office every time, or the post office every time you decide to go someplace new. Portuguese mug today. Okay. And then another really great reason to use a virtual address is if you actually do want to expand your business. So for me, for a law firm, right now my law firm is based in Cary, North Carolina. Well, it's actually based in Raleigh, North Carolina. And if I wanted to move to, say, Charlotte, or if I wanted to move and open up another location in Florida someplace, or Ohio, or somewhere else, then all I have to do is set up a new virtual address in those locations. Now, there's a couple major limitations to having a virtual address, and these are things that a lot of people get confused about, so please pay attention. The first major limitation with a virtual address is that you cannot use that virtual address as your registered agent address or your registered address unless you have an arrangement in place with that provider from the beginning. A lot of registered agents will offer virtual address services and allow you to use the address for both, but a lot of the virtual address companies will not, they don't go backwards. They're not going to actually allow you to use your virtual address as a registered agent address. And so it's important to understand that. You shouldn't be using that virtual address that you've signed up for as your registered agent address, because that's not the function that it serves. You need to appoint somebody to do that, and they need to actually accept that role. So that is not something that you can do with a virtual address for most virtual addresses. I'm sure there's going to be some exceptions out there, but the services that I'm going to be recommending down in the description, you cannot do that with. As far as I know, I don't think you can. Check with the service provider. Maybe you can. I don't know. I don't think you can. The second thing that you cannot do with the virtual address is you're not going to be able to use it for your business bank account. For US banking regulations, there must be a physical mailing address that you use when you open up a bank account. Whether it's a business account or personal account, it doesn't matter. You need to have a physical address in that city or state where you're opening up the bank account. And so that means you can't use a virtual address for it. Now, big caveat here, you can have that physical address that you've used to open up your business bank account, but then the mailing address for your account will be with the virtual address that you use. So actually, the physical address you use is not going to be seen anywhere. It's not going to be on your checks. It's not going to be anywhere connected to your bank account other than on the back end. You're using that to open up the bank account. But once you've done that, then you're going to use your virtual address as the mailing address for that bank account. So like I said, there's a couple services that I recommend for virtual address and virtual office services. The first one that I use and love is Earth Class Mail. There'll be a link down below to sign up with them. That is an affiliate link, so I do get a small kickback if you do sign up with them. The other option that I would recommend for virtual office services is Alliance Virtual Offices, and there's going to be another link down there below to that service. Again, that's an affiliate link. Look at it when you're just getting started. This is something you definitely should invest in, and I think it's a great idea for your business. And if you're wondering why, I've got another video right here that talks about the main mistakes I see people making when they're setting up their LLCs. So check that out, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day, folks, and